to the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Josh Mansfield is out today because really it's my fault. We had to start super late because I had to go downtown to the Spanish embassy to try to file some paperwork so I can fly drone in Spain next week. And they were like, "What are you talking about? We don't have any idea what you're talking about." And I said, "Well, the national police said I had to go to the embassy." And they said, "Well, why don't you email us?" So that's great that I went all the way downtown and missed the recording time. Sorry, Josh. That's how it goes sometimes. But we have a very cool show today. We're going to be welcoming in DGN play-by-play commentator from the other side of the pond. Esa-Pekka Tupala will join us in just a moment. And Esa-Pekka has been a fan favorite of people who follow the DGPT Europe side of things. Always nice to just get a different voice in the booth, I think. You know, changing it up. I wouldn't want to listen to any single set of commentators the whole season. So always nice to hear Esa-Pekka on the call, and wanted to talk to him about, you know, how he got involved, his thoughts on the European season so far, what he thought about Preserve, and what a crazy weekend it was at the Preserve. Silva Saarinen goes back-to-back and beats Kristen for the second straight weekend, and averages 10-10 disc golf. Looks totally in control of her game, and really impressive once again against essentially a full field. So on the other side, MPO, Gannon Buhr just obliterated everybody so much that FPO viewership was above MPO viewership this weekend, which is not a common sight on the live coverage. But that's what happens when Gannon has basically lapped the field by, 36 holes in. So he sets the record for the highest ever rated 3-round tournament, 1088. He just destroyed everybody. I mean, he barely missed a shot this weekend. We will talk about that. And if you want more on the Preserve, Josh and I did a Rapid Reacts that's available now for all subscribers. You can become a subscriber at discgolf.ultiworld.com/subscribe, and we go into detail about the tournament so far. Today's show will be focused mostly on this interview with Esa-Pekka, and then we'll be back with you tomorrow to get you ready for the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship, which starts Thursday. So the next major, it's all alone on the calendar, so lock in. It's in Wisconsin. We got some technical courses, a little bit shorter. Remember back to when Haley King won the U.S. Women's in Wisconsin a couple years back. Perhaps we'll see Haley in her home state do something like that again. But I still think the odds for the big four right now, that's Kristen, Silva, Holland, and Missy, they have to be like 95%, one of them to win this tournament. But there is still a chance for the field, and that's why we play the tournaments. So we'll get you ready for U.S. Women's in tomorrow's episode. Coming up next, Esa-Pekka Tupala joins me right here on The Upshot. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. Understandably, lots of hype about the new redesigned Octo line here in 2025, but let's just remember, the Rufus is the bag that I had been dreaming about. I finally got one, and I can't imagine ever getting another bag, to be perfectly honest. And they've got 2 brand new small batches of the slightly smaller Rufus bag available now. They have upper detail pocket upgrades, additional Velcro swatches. They got the purple and the black, and then kind of like a dark red burnt orange color with black. Super nice looking bags. I guess they call that rust. There's grape and rust. So check them out. Grab yourself a Rufus today. Still plenty of space for all your stuff, but it's just not too big. Perfect size for me. PoundDiscGolf.com. Joining us now on the Upshot is Esa-Pekka Tupala, a commentator for Disc Golf Network over on the European events. And Epe, I did my best with your name as I try to week in, week out. How would you rate my pronunciation there?
That's 9.8 out of 10. That's very good. And thanks for the invite. It's great to be here.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show. You've become a fan favorite with viewers on the Disc Golf Network. I feel like I always see people talking about how much they like the European commentators. And I thought it would be great to get you on to get some perspective about the European scene and your thoughts on the 2025 season so far, and we'll get into all of that. But I figured I would start with, how did you get into doing disc golf commentary and ultimately land this gig on DGN?
Well, thanks for those compliments, Charlie. And once again, thanks for the invite for the podcast. I've been a fan for many years, and it's great to be a small part of it. My journey with the DGN started practically 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago with the DGN. In 2022, I was commentating the Finnish Nationals when Anttila took his second Nationals title. And after that one, I heard by a friend that DGN was looking for a commentator. And soon after that, the application came through to the Finnish disc golf sites, and everybody was able to post an example of how would you speak English and how would you commentate on certain disc golf topics and rounds. So I made a clip and I got through, and then I went into the studio in 2023 for the Euro Tour.
Awesome. And when you found out about this opportunity, like, did you anticipate that the European scene was going to become such a big feature of the tour? Because I feel like when, disc golf, even like post-COVID, started to kind of have its moment, it took a little time it felt like Europe was still maybe a decade behind. And
sure,
that doesn't feel like the case anymore. I mean, maybe there are still areas where Europe is trailing, North America, but obviously we're seeing huge crowds, particularly at European Open. I mean, I'm expecting records at Worlds this year. So, were you surprised to see how quickly it's grown in the last few years, or is this kind of your expectation?
I would say something in the middle. I knew that Europe was kind of lagging behind with all the talent and all the shiny moments in the Disc Golf Pro Tour, so to speak. I wasn't quite sure what to expect and how fast, but I knew that we have many young potential players growing in here. We have so many disc golf courses and disc golf parks in Finland, at least. I bet it must be like the densest populated or the densest located with as of the courses come nation internationally. So we have so many courses in here, and we have so many people playing on them every single minute when we have the daylight here. At least now, when it's summertime, we are going to have a lot of daylight, and people are rushing to those courses day and night.
Yeah, it's been incredible to watch the growth over there. How do you feel like the growth is impacting the competitiveness of the European side? Obviously, Niklas and Silva, and of course Kristen, have been big stories this season, and certainly Silva and Niklas are having their best seasons ever.
Sure.
How much further growth do you expect to see from players to become on that elite level, who are battling for wins on tour, not just in Europe, but perhaps in the United States? And what do you think is going to take in terms of time for that to kind of trickle up, if you will?
Well, I would start by saying that I feel like the professional disc golf is at a kind of a crossroads, so to speak. As we saw from the preserve, I bet everybody has seen those rounds or has chosen not to look at them after Gannon Buhr just destroyed the preserve. We're kind of at the crossroads where we are battling with the fact that, is our sport kind of too easy for the professionals? Is it entertaining enough to see? Is it entertaining enough to play and to involve all these young people to be a professional athlete in disc golf, even though there's a lot of things in the world that you can achieve and thrive towards to. We have to find a way to make our courses and our competitive scene interesting for the players to participate and to, how to involve themselves throughoutly to the sport and to therefore give their efforts to grow this sport even more. I feel we are battling with those things hard, and coming with this young talent, it's really hard to say how every single player is going to impact on the sport or on the tour. But I'm really happy to see that these youngsters are coming and showing their skills all over, at least in Europe. And I bet many of them will go into the States to participate the DGPT there. I don't know if this answered your question throughoutly.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I keep waiting to see Mauri Vilman come over and play, more than just USDGC, because he's obviously been so successful in Europe and has already this season had some impressive performances. But then, the youngsters, and we have to talk about some of the young player. I mean,
sure.
Julia Fors, I mean, it's unbelievable to watch a 13-year-old playing like that.
Yeah, I have a second screen here on my office to get every info I can get about these players, and it's just magnificent to see her. I mean, yeah, she's 13 years old, and she went to the Konopiste. We saw her there. She took the 9th place, and week after that she went to the Eastern Meadows Open in Sweden, and she won that. That was a Q series. So and then to the Ole Open. Round 1, she played the 993 rated -3, just one shot shy of Kristin Latt. And then in the interview, she was really composed and she speaks so good English. I'm kind of baffled that she's 13. And she was just telling us that, yeah, I was really chasing for that 1000 rated round, so I'm going to keep on playing and I'm going to hope that's going to come. And I don't know if she realizes how well she's been playing, but she has a specific goal, and that's something that I can kind of see in these European young players, that they are thriving towards a goal and they want to achieve something, and it's really professional how these youngsters are going with disc golf. They really want to achieve things and they want to make a career out of it, and it's great to see.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Silva Saarinen. I mean, obviously has already been playing such great disc golf over the last 18 months. But finally, for the first time at Ale Open in Sweden just a week and a half ago, she gets her first win at a tournament where Kristin Latt was in the field. And then she backs that up this weekend back in the United States at the Preserve against effectively a full field, minus, Henna and Evelina, more or less. Yep. And, shoots about 10-10 rated, beats Kristin again. Have you seen a change in her skills or possibly her mentality that you feel like is driving her to this new level of success, specifically against Kristin? Or is this sort of like a natural progression of, her abilities over time?
I would lean towards the latter option. I mean, she's been on the scene for quite a few years now. Her first events are from 2018, and she's been doing PDGA events since then. And those were only C tiers that she played for about 3 years, and then took on her first B tier in 2020. Those were the European Amateur Open 2020. She took the 2nd place there. And then the Pirkanmaa Summer Series final. That was her first over a C-tier victory. And she's been traveling Finland and Europe and also the States with Jenni Karppinen, who's her dear friend. And in the early days, I remember hearing about them that Silva was the great putter and Jenni had the distance. And it seems like during these years, Silva has achieved the distance side too. I mean, she wasn't the the most favorable player to take down preserve. That's
Right.
not a technical course. That's everything but. And still she's gaining those strokes even on the fairway. And that shows us something.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this whole season, it's been noticeable how much further she's throwing, even compared to just a few months ago at the end of 2024. Incredibly impressive. And then the question becomes, like, what is she capable of? I mean, do you think she could put together a Player of the Year campaign and win a major or two this year?
It's really hard to say. I mean, she doesn't have any obstacles, it seems like. She's gotten over the hump, so to speak, that many of you and the others have been talking about. She had the hump that she has to beat Kristin, and she has to do it with a full field. And now she's done it. There's no question about it. She first did it in Ale, and now a week after she did it in Preserve. I don't believe she has any limits right now. She just has to find a way to keep her focus. That's something we were battling with 2 years ago at the Euro Tour. We saw in the coverage that she was looking at her phone all the time. She was keeping herself very aware about the scores, where she's at, where the other players are at. And we were talking to each other in the booth that is that a great option? Is that the best thing to do? Mm-hmm. Should she be doing that? And she still, I believe, does it, and it doesn't matter. It just isn't a thing for her. That's something we can also exclude from the conversation already. So she's found her strike, and she's looking good.
Yeah, no question about it. Similarly, Niklas Anttila has really improved this season. I mean, obviously he's been very good for quite some time, and he's won tour events in the past, but it feels like he's unlocked a little bit of a higher level, especially in final rounds when he's in contention. He's been nails. What have you seen from him this season? Perhaps on the events that you've covered over in Europe, but just watching on tour this year, that's kind of helped him to reach a new level of play?
I don't know if I can point out a specific single thing. I think it's something similar to Silva, that he's just been playing very well, and he knows where his weak points might lie, and then he goes to the field and practices them, and then comes back even better on the next tournament. I don't really have a clue how he does it. And he just took down 2 DGPT events in a row in the States, and then the Ale Open a couple of weeks back. Also looking real solid. He's really accurate, and those putts are going in from far away. And that's one thing that combines Silva and Niklas here. They really know how to putt, and they know how to compose themselves on the green. If there's people around, if there's cameras around, they just know how to ignore them, and that's really valuable. Yeah.
As the full-fledged tour comes to Europe here in a couple weeks, and we have some DGPT events building up to the 2 majors. It's obviously going to be more eyes on European disc golf than we've ever had. What are you most looking forward to in this stretch? We'll just start with that.
Well, first of all, it's a great honor to have the Worlds and all the other competitions here in Europe. It's great to see the DGPT and the PDGA giving us those big moments in disc golf to see and to witness. I feel like we have a lot of things to give. You're going to have to edit that one out. I'm going to start again. Well, first of all, it's really great to have those competitions here. For the PDGA and the DGPT, we have big competitions coming up, and the people are ready. I feel like the crowds are already buying the tickets, and they are surely ready to come to see the best disc golf in the world experienced live. And also the courses and the crews down on the courses, they're ready too. They really want to give their everything for what they have to give to these tours and these events. And it's really an honor to to be a part of those competitions.
Are you commentating all of these upcoming tournaments? Will you be in the booth?
I'm in the booth for all the other tournaments except for the Worlds.
Oh, so you won't be in the booth for the Worlds?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you know who's doing the Worlds? Probably the Dosses.
I'm aware of who is gonna be in the booth, but I think that's not for me to disclose who's gonna be in the booth.
Whatever. I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up while we keep talking.
You can break the news.
I'll break the news. I don't think it needs to be a secret. Let's see. So, who should we be watching for? Like, if you're, we have lots of listeners from all over the world, and certainly the European listeners are going to be aware of some of the names you're about to say. But if for an American audience who maybe isn't really following the ins and outs of European disc golf, besides the biggest names, who are some names to keep an eye on in this European swing coming up? And, that could be people who are dark horse chances at the majors, or maybe just that you might see in the top 10 at Krokol or something like that. Who are some people to watch?
Well, I think we're gonna start with the FPO. So we're gonna have some kind of a limitations here how to find the proper names. Let's start for the FPO and for the young up and comers, should I say? We have a couple of people from Czech Republic who I really think people should watch out for. Starting with Kristina Jurčíková. She was the very, very capable Czech player playing already in Konopiste, one of our cards in DGN. She's the reigning Czech FPO champion and also reigning Central European FPO champion. She took the third place in FJ18 at the 2023 European Disc Golf Championships, which actually Ida Lehtomäki from Finland won. We'll get to her in just a moment. Kristina has been coached professionally for 4 years, and she comes from the same town of Nový Jičín. I believe I said that somewhat correctly. I'm sorry for all those Czech Republic fans. That's the same town where Jakub Knapek and Boran Bilek come from, and they are very capable MPO players. The town is about 26,000 citizens, so kind of a small place, but disc golf is growing strong there. Those are a couple of names for the MPO too. Jakub and Boran, both, they are really solid players, very capable with both backhand and forehand. And then with Kristina, we saw Nicole Mikuláštík in Konopiste. She actually won the Konopiste Amateur Open in 2025 this year, and she took the spot at the main event in Konopiste and came in 13th, so not bad. And she's 16 years old, Nicole, and she was volunteering for the whole Konopiste, and she was there from the start of the day to the late hours on the course, making sure it's in the best possible conditions for the other players. And Kristina, who I just talked about, she's currently 14 years old. She's turning 15 in September.
Crazy.
That is crazy. And then, of course, we talked about Julia Force. I don't know if she's a force to reckon with, so to speak, at the Worlds or these majors, but she's really growing on strong. And I'm gonna hope the same thing that Brian Erhardt did, that she should just keep the focus on disc golf being fun and entertaining, and just keep on playing and don't worry about anything that comes. Just keep on playing and having fun. Then Ida Emilie Nesse from Norway. She's 17 years old.
Yep. From
Bergen. And she's 2 times Norwegian FPO champion. Then Ida Lehtomäki, who we just talked about a little bit. She's, of course, from Finland. 15 years old at the moment. Born in 2015. I got some info about her. She's been playing about 4 years now. 4 years, and she's already reckoning with all the other players. You can see her things at Ale, for example. She's European Junior Girls Champion from 2023 when she was 13 years old. She's 2-time FJ15 and FA1 Finnish champion. So those are some of the young guns coming from Europe that you should really keep on watching. And of course, we have Silva.
Yeah.
Of course, there's no other things to say about Silva, and I bet she's gonna play the whole European stretch. I don't see any other plans of her. We have a couple of Finnish players here and there coming too. We have Jenni Karppinen, we have Olivia Chinstead, we have some other FPO players, but Silva and Ida might be the most interesting one as we take a look at the disc golf scene and the conversations going online.
For sure. How about on the MPO side?
Well, if we start from Finland, I bet you can find those answers when you look at the leaderboards in LA Open and at the Konapiste. Nestori Tuhkanen, Daniel Davidson, old pals. They've been battling a lot, many years, and they've been really upping their game. I'm really happy for seeing them on the leaderboard. A couple of other names that come to mind. Eetu Tuominen is a young player, very capable. We've been seeing him on the coverage, I believe, for the past 3 years already, all the times I've been on the booth. There's so many Finnish players. I really can't come up all of the names that I should be coming up with right here, but very, very many people. And then we have the Czech players, of course, Jakub Semerat. You've been seeing him for the whole season. Mm-hmm. Quite a slow start, have to say, not really being able to take his full potential out on the field. Silver Lat, for sure. Albert Tam, a bit slow start for Albert too this year, I feel like. Same thing as Jakub Semerat. Then the couple of other Czechs I mentioned, Jakub Knapek, Boran Vilek. There's so many very well composed and very great players.
You know, I have to say, I might be most intrigued right now by the return of Lauri Lehtinen to competitive disc golf after basically almost a year away. And he comes back and has been really, really sharp. I mean, second at Konopiste, he wins the Prodigy Pro Tour event at Vasa, and then a third at Ale Open. So like he's been all over the podium already to start this season. When we saw him playing his best, 2-3 years ago, he looked like he could be the most promising prospect after maybe Simon and Niklas. And he's already popped back up to 1036 rated. Like, is he somebody who could seriously threaten to be the next European MPO winner on tour?
He sure is. He's a great example of a name that I just forgot because he's been absent for about a year. And then he just came up back to the scene, got his sponsorship back, got his mental game back set up, and he took down an A tier. Then in Konopiste, what was he, second or third? I just can't remember. He's such a great player and solid professional. His form is smoother than butter. It's almost smoother than Joona Heinänen's form, which is very, very big words. He's really a threat to everybody. If he gets his game plan going on and his mental state correct, it's going to be a troublesome moments coming up for other players.
That's going to be fascinating. All right, I want your over under on Worlds spectators on Sunday. We have the line at 10,000 people.
Well, I'm going to say Sunday. I'm going to say over.
I love it.
I'm going to say over. It's becoming less and less possible to see the action happening for free on the premises.
Right.
All the tickets that have been sold, the amounts have gone through the roof and over the expectations, as for what I hear. And it's really great to hear for people who want the best possible experience. And there are going to be places at Nokia where you can follow follow the competition for free, but it's getting more and more scarce to get those positions to see anything behind all of those VIPs and other spectators. It's gonna be a rush at Nokia on Sunday.
Yeah, it's gonna be epic. Yeah, we already talked a little bit about Silva this past weekend, and you mentioned in passing Gannon Buhr and his performance. I mean, he sets a record for the highest rated ever 3-round performance at a tournament, period. Not even just Pro Tour. I mean, this was an unbelievable level of domination. He takes it down by 11 shots, and this tournament felt over after maybe a round and a half. What is making him so dominant? And I know you haven't seen him over in Europe yet this year, and he's coming. I can tell you that. What's most impressive about his game to you?
I feel like there's something very similar about Gannon and Niklas. They really like playing golf. I mean, they can be spontaneous and adventurous and give us some entertainment more than golf, but they really know where their own strengths lay and how to play their own game and let others make the mistakes. And for what's to say about preserve? Gannon just didn't make any mistakes. On the contrary, he practically played perfect. I believe that's something he said himself, that this was the best disc golf he's ever played. And I'm going to agree with him. Not going to argue with that. But in Finland, I feel like Niklas has a reputation of being very boring player.
Is that right?
Yeah. And people are saying that I really don't know if I like him at all. It's so boring to see him play. I mean, yeah, he's playing very good disc golf and he's playing golf. And that's not always the flashiest way to play, but he's winning and it's working. So from my view, that's not boring. But I can see there's a very, very specific mentality going on with Niklas. He's very calm. He doesn't really show emotions. He can be seen making some emotions or faces on the last rounds when things don't go on his way. Mm-hmm. But most of the times he's just he's on the job.
Clock in, clock out.
Yeah.
Get birdies, win tournaments. I mean, obviously Gannon has that reputation too. And I think people find it's suffocating how strong the level of play is. I mean, I feel like Niklas, at least, like, he's got a little bit more of some uncertainty of what's going to happen on the putting green, which to me adds some like volatility to what might happen. When Gannon is playing his best, he just doesn't seem to make any mistakes. And it's like, I can see why people find it's like it can feel hard to watch because he's so good and he's just so rarely making any kind of error and everything is just pure execution all the time that, you know, there's something about that can feel like it's almost too clinical to be relatable.
And to me, there's not really a reason to argue about what should we do with courses, what should we do with the basket, what should we do with the fairways. There's nothing to do if Gannon's just on fire. He's going to be putting into the center. Those discs are going to end up into the chains as a birdie or an eagle. There's no way we can make this sport hard enough for him to make bogeys in a row if he has the day right in his mind. It's really no use to argue about those things. I believe it can't be said about many players on the tour. If they get all the puzzle pieces correct, it's donezo for the others.
Yeah. And there's like nothing.
And Gannon seems to be the person who most probably gets those pieces together and knows how his game is going today and how he has to adjust for specific things to come.
Do you think the European courses are better than the U.S. courses on the whole?
I won't maybe say so directly. If we compare, for example, the courses that we have on DGPT Europe versus on DGPT, there is the fact that we have only 7 tournaments on the DGPT Europe elite level at this year, and there are quite many more on the state side, and you have to have some kind of a regularity about how you make the tour happen. You can't just go crossing the country every single weekend. That's very understandable. I would say, yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this for a moment.
It's fine. I think I think you make a great point, and I think I've said it before on the show. It's when we have double the courses in the U.S. as what we get in Europe. I do think that naturally, when you pick the absolute best of the best from the United States and you compare it to the best of the best from Europe, it's like they're different, but they're comparable. But I do think that there's like a level of natural beauty that we get on the European courses that we really don't get as much in the U.S. And some of that's just terrain. Some of that's like the type of forest that we tend to get to see in Europe. Some of that's probably also just the foreignness is like appealing because it's not familiar as much. But I mean, the really like, to go from Ale to Preserve, like, I'm sorry. Like, Ale is just like a way better property and course, and it's not even really that close. Yeah. It's just a little bit jarring sometimes to see the differences.
It might be, sure. And for what I can tell, 98% of Finnish disc golf courses are in the woods.
Right.
It's a really rocky terrain, or then there's very, very vast variety of undergrowth in the forest, and it's really tight gaps you have to hit. And that's the reason why Finnish disc golfers usually do well at those woodsy courses on the DGPT. And we kind of rarely have those kind of courses that you can see on the DGPT Europe, for example, the Konopiste, the Ales, even the Krukol is more open than most of the courses in Finland. We have a couple of them. For example, Luolavuori is a great example about a course that is very open wide, and it's practically in the center of Turku. So a big city going around it, and we have this mountain, the cave mountain. It's a straight translation from Finland, Luolavuori, where it's located, and it's a really beautiful place. Practically my home course. I live about 12 to 15 miles away.
Nice. And
it's very, very beautiful place, and very great to see that one also on the DGPT Europe.
So as we get ready for European swing, you want to make any predictions about what we're going to see? Who wins the swing?
Well, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
Are we going to assume that all of the big names from the States are coming to these events?
I think so.
Yeah. So we're going to have those premises. I wouldn't mind if it was Ricky. I've been hoping that he's going to get the groove on and kind of cheering him for getting some victories. He's been very close for this whole season, and he's really strong in Europe and playing European disc golf. He's really good at it.
Yes.
I don't know if Gannon has the experience it's required to take all of these events down. I won't say he has a chance to take all of them down, even if he plays best possible game. For these courses are a bit different, and he doesn't have those memories from those courses. Some of these players have been playing the courses we have for years, and Gannon might be visiting them for the first or second time. So I wouldn't count him as a factual winner already before even arriving at the premises. It's really hard to tell, though. If I have to pick one, I'm gonna go with Rick. I'm gonna go with Ricky. Ricky, don't let me down. Don't let me down on this. And for the FPO, I'm gonna take Silva. She has the momentum on her side. She's going to take down the USW DGC. She's going to take down the European Championships and so on. And then she's going to continue winning, and there's no end for that.
It'd be pretty amazing if she keeps it going. She's going to have some serious pressure from the other three of the big four in Kristen, Holland, and Missy.
Yeah, and Evelina and Henna are also joining the parties now. They're having a break, and of course, Henna got married a few weeks back. Congratulations to her. And it's great to see them back on the course and see how the break has affected their game.
I'm excited. U.S. Women's coming up this weekend, and another big test for Silva. You got to like her chances on the technical courses that we're going to have at U.S. Women's. And I feel like there's, we kind of got used to just expecting Kristen to be the favorite every single weekend that she's in the field. But I think there's a case to be made that Silva should be the favorite this weekend.
It might be so. I haven't seen Silva play in those most technical courses in a few weeks or in a few events, should I say. Ale was very, very difficult and it was very challenging. But there were also those open shots, and it's going to be a very difficult track on the USWDGC.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Esa-Pekka, thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing you back in the booth. What's next for you? Is it PCS?
No, actually, the next one is on DGN Pro, the European Disc Golf Championships in 2 weeks. Right. And that's a 4-day event. We already start on Thursday with Jani Lanzia, who's been with me in the booth for these first 2 events.
Awesome. And I haven't looked at the registration list. It looks like Nicholas will be there. So you pretty much have all the big names, yeah?
Yep. We have all the big names.
That's
It's going to be a superb event, and I really urge everybody to see the live show. It's going to be epic, and the course is going to be great.
It's in Langevåg, Norway, starting June 26th through the 29th. And we've had some epic moments at European Disc Golf Championships the last few years. I remember that's when Evelina got the yips a few years back. And then she couldn't get rid of them for a couple of years. And then she finally got rid of them, and she started winning majors. Yeah.
It's going to be epic. All the best players from Europe are going to be there, and so should you on the other side of the screen.
All right. Well, Esa-Pekka, we look forward to having you back in the booth. And it's going to be Terry Miller and the Dosses, and I think Juliana Korver in the booth for Worlds. So sorry you're not going to get to be in the booth, but I assume you're going to be there. You're going to go to the tournament?
Yeah, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be just beside the camera so they can turn around and get an interview or something. I don't know.
Celebrity
care.
shot.
I'm just going to be there enjoying the summer, the Finnish summer.
Oh, yeah. That's spectacular. I really enjoyed coming over for European Open 2 years ago now. All right, Esa-Pekka Tupala with us here on the Upshot. Thank you so much, and look forward to having you on again sometime.
Thank you so much for the invite. Have a great summer, everybody.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Upshot. Well, great to have Epe on to talk some disc golf, and now you've got a sense of what to expect coming up here on this European swing. And I'll be honest, I knew that the European Championships were happening this year, but I did not realize the extent to which they were going to be the best of the best from Europe. All the good players are going to be playing. It's like a quasi major, and that's just the appetizer, the prelude to the full tour coming over for Krokol and PCS, and then the majors. What a European summer it's going to be. So I'm marking it on my calendar. That's a little less than 10 days from now. So not this coming weekend, but the following. We've got European Championships. Oh, and of course, we'll have Discmania Challenge, a.k.a. Des Moines, in the States. So tons of disc golf to watch over the next few weeks. Time to lock in. Congrats again to Gannon, Buhr, and Silva Saarinen on their dominant performances at the Preserve this past weekend in Minnesota. Josh will be back with us tomorrow. I'm Charlie Eisenhood, signing off for this edition of the Upshot. Talk to you tomorrow about U.S. Women's.